now I've got all this extra room to play with to fit this tiny little computer. And yeah, this big gigantic void here is where the other computer went. These amp signal wires went in front of the computer, and the ventilation pipe went down here. So now the amplifier signal wires can go right back. And there's generally there used to be a carpeted panel here all the way up to the front of that amp that covered everything. So yeah, gobs of space. I could even fit it in here, but I'd have to clean up a bit of wiring first. It's a little bit unnecessary. I could plug it in way back there. I don't want to. I could even put it under there. Under here. Anyway, so this is the cold air from the cabin intake. And this pipe, even this pipe now can go way back. Get more view of the amp. It used to be up here because of the computer, old computer. Yeah, so a bit of rearranging involved coming up. I just pulled this carpet back, made a cut, got in here, made another cut, so I can get this piece along here to see where the computer goes, and this had to be modified because of this backup battery system thingy.
Backup battery system thingy.
Yeah, so I went ahead and made all the changes to that backboard and fitted it in, and the footage turned out blurry, but you get the idea. I mean, it's pretty tight. Not too bad if you don't stick a light in it. And I guess I've got to make a inner panel there, because this was actually cut out for a bigger amplifier that I used to have in here. This other amplifier did actually come up here nice. But as far as this goes, it's just tight, just touching with a bit of that slack carpet, and it's kind of poking in there a bit. But yeah, should clean up alright. Different leads, go away lead. Okay, so now I've just got to mount the computer on something that could take some vibrations away, maybe, and properly be mounted, soak up vibrations, and also take up slack from any of the leads coming into it, so that the leads aren't vibrating the computer, if you know what I mean. So I'll probably do just a plonk, a test install with a plonk and some Velcro, and then work on something a bit more substantial later. So there she is, that's the official plonk and donk test bed for the computer, on about 1.5 inches of open cell foam, and just the cords wrapped around once. So get a little bit of Velcro strap onto that, around it, and see what happens. Yeah, I've just turned it on, so the output is at 100 watts. The amp is in standby, sound cards are on. It's going through a boot up procedure because it's trained to turn on when it receives AC power input. These are the USB plugs for the sound cards. One is for the main sound card with 8 channels, and the extra one is for 2 channels, but it's not actually being used by the software. Loading drivers for both of the sound cards, just so I can get at the mixer of them and make sure everything is routed to the right speakers, etc. Now that's kind of complex and to me sometimes baffles me, but it's pretty simple really. Sound card 1 I have in the boot is receiving the iPad's optical from my optical USB to optical, which happens to be a sound card, but that's just another story. That's 3 sound cards if you're counting, and this is the main Ableton sound card that receives the reclocked iPad, keeps it clean. That's why I had to have this one. This also has another purpose, but I'll tell you that in a sec. So this does all the DSPing from Ableton, splits out all the different band passes and the sub-channel, and this is where it gets back to the other sound card. It sends a copy of the sub-channel to a different input on the first sound card and puts it out an analog input. There's currently no bass playing in this song, so you can't quite see it. I was just down here. So that was to get an extra pair of balanced outputs. So 10 balanced outputs for the 10 channel system. So just doing a quick temperature check. It's cool at the front, just kind of warm at the back, like a cheese sandwich that you heated up. And it's kind of warm under there, so probably like to give it a little air platform on top of that. But other than that, pretty good. Now I'm going to test the power down. It's been running for about an hour with the default set while I was setting up the sound card routing, so that's gone to sleep now, and I'm just going to turn everything off. I've only got 2 more things to do. So we got the sound going again after all that. New PC, fresh install, all the plugins, turn all the Windows updates off. There's still one problem which I'm trying to figure out, and that's this HP computer has a funny performance power system, and I can't seem to get all my little normal audio priority tweaks in, so I'm going to have to try all the other audio priority tweaks, like putting a high priority on the Ableton service and things like that. It's just like 1 or 2 hiccups every minute or so, but surely that should be fixed sooner or later. And the other problem is I cannot remember, and it did not transfer over, the gain settings for the channels. And if I want to be listening to my last tune exactly how I did it, so the pink noise is pink with the last mic technique that I used. Some of these were on high gain. Some of these are on +4. I don't think any of them were on -10. It was just a way of but just before I tuned, I maximized the amp and digital to analog converter, the right amount for each speaker group, so that I was maximizing my headroom along all of the channels. But it sounds right now, everything on +4, but I'll just verify that with a remeasure. But so far I'm just working on other little tweaks. But there's the default set. It's running quite well. And the other problem is the 12s just a little bit quiet, and I don't think the remote power is working, because that should be a blue light there for the amp, and I was getting a little bit suspicious about that. Yeah, but I'm not going to dig in there tonight. I think we'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, so it's doing it now. It's definitely an app priority thing. That was all quite well up there. You're going to have to wait till next episode, guys, because Nobby here goes through a lot of things to try and work out this problem. And he might or he might not, I'm not saying, fix the problem. So stay tuned and see you in the next one.